What's good, beautiful people? As we all know, we probably don't see these fires in LA or whatever. Yesterday, I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday, Stephanie Bly, the Aquarius or something like that, or Aquaria, I could put up the screenshot or whatever, but like drop in the comments and ask me about the fires. And at the time, I was like, I saw stuff about the Cali fires, but like I never really dug deep into it or even, search it or whatever. Last night, like before I went to bed, I just started, scrolling or whatever and saw some clips. I was like, oh my word, this is ridiculous. Because initially I was just thinking like, okay, this probably like, the other times, forest fire in Cali, next 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever. It may last 6 hours or so. First of all, I don't even know why I ain't started this. Prayers to everyone that are been affected by this. I know I have a few subscribers or followers or people who rock with me from Cali, so I really hope that they are all well. But I hope everyone is all well to begin with. And I also read that a minimum of about 10 people have lost their lives due to this thus far. But let's get into it. Two clips from BBC. This one is titled "Firefighters Still Burn Across LA as Fierce Winds Threaten More Destruction." Man, that means it's still going on.
10 people are now confirmed to have been killed in Los Angeles' worst ever wildfires. Where it's in LA now, it's 3 a.m. in the morning and thousands of firefighters are still battling to control the blazes. The county sheriff says it hasn't been safe to reach many hard-hit areas and the number of people who've died is absolutely going to change. Well, this aerial footage shows the Kenneth wildfire as it approaches some homes. Police earlier said they believed it was started deliberately and detained a man on suspicion of arson. But the fire chief has now told the BBC that there is, as yet, no conclusive evidence that the wildfires have been deliberately set. This was the scene as dense smoke blanketed the sky above Hollywood. Weather forecasters are warning that across LA, more high winds may fan the flames further. Officials say as many as 10,000 homes and other structures have been destroyed or damaged.
Oh my God.
AccuWeather estimates the damage could be up to $150 billion.
Hold on. 150 billion? What the hell?
5 fires continue to burn across LA. The National Guard has been deployed amid reports of looting. The devastation has been illustrated by just one of thousands of residents. Harlan Boll sent us this photo of his home before the wildfires. And now this is what is left of it after the Eaton fire burned through 14,000 acres in LA. And as well as losing his home, Harlan Boll lost his pet cat. Well, residents have described the firestorm as apocalyptic. In some areas, families have returned to scenes of devastation, combing through the rubble and ash that was their home. We'll have the latest from our correspondent in LA shortly, but our first report this hour is from Helen Humphrey.
I watched this house burn down live on the news. Yeah, this was a beautiful home. Had a lot of good times here.
It's hard to put into words the level of devastation here, but the LA County Sheriff put it...
Like I'm from a Caribbean island, and to see something that says 180,000 people, honestly, that's more than half of the population of my entire country, I think. I lie. Our country is like 400,000. But that's like, at least that's more than half of the population in the capital city, for sure. So that's like half the city.
In some areas, he said, it looks like a bomb had been dropped. So far, land more than twice the size of Manhattan lies in ruins. And still, these fires rage out of control.
Oh my God, look at the bank.
There is a new fire, unfortunately, in West Hills, pushing into Ventura County, and we are expecting this fire to rapidly spread due to high winds. This is a reminder that this is a very dynamic situation that can change quickly.
No pun intended. I've also read stuff like this same Karen Bass person. She's technically under fire as well. No pun intended. I already said that. But yeah, like she ain't really... Anyway.
On Thursday, a brief lull in those fierce Santa Ana winds allowed aircraft to streak across the skies, dropping water and fire retardant onto the flames. But there's no guarantee that that calm will last, with forecasters warning more winds could fan these infernos even further.
That's crazy.
The wind definitely played the biggest part, especially with the flying embers. I mean, I remember seeing embers just shooting over my head like, oh my gosh, that's somebody's house. That's someone's like property. Just balls of fire.
Some residents have ventured back, bracing themselves for what they'd find, only to discover their homes reduced to little more than ash. Many told us they're simply too devastated to speak on camera. These fires don't discriminate, tearing through every kind of neighborhood, from lavish mansions to humble bungalows. All of them wants a place of safety for someone.
This looks like the apocalypse. It just doesn't feel like the normal things that happen in your life. This is something very unusual.
And for others, the scope of this catastrophe confirms their growing fears about the changing climate.
This is
That's a
obvious
pool?
that stuff like this is happening because of global warming, and people that just want to deny it just don't know science and don't know how to research those things. So I think that humans are funny because they think anywhere they move in this world they'll be safe, but the entire world has global warming. I guess pick your disaster or live there. What disaster makes you feel most comfortable? Because that's the world we're living in at this point.
That is absolutely factual because I feel like you can't duck a natural disaster place because even in Cali, it's like even if they didn't have the fires, they still got like the earthquakes. Like in the Caribbean, we got to deal with like hurricanes from June to basically December. So like between the whole 6 month span, we just in caution of hurricanes. I know people in like in the Midwest or like in the Midwest of the states, they got to deal with like tornadoes and like other stuff like that. Also, the people in Florida got to deal with hurricanes as well. So it's like everywhere you go, it's just some stuff. And like I got a friend in DC, he dealing with like snowstorms. So like stuff like that. And I mean, a snowstorm technically ain't really bad, but it still could mess up your day or whatever. So it's just natural disasters. You really can't duck it. Gotta pick your, so to speak, pick your poison.
In Altadena, fire crews are out battling these hotspots. You can see that many homes like this one are still smouldering, and you can see here that this entire neighborhood, this entire community has essentially been wiped out. We've been speaking to families here who have lived in these homes for generations, and in just a matter of hours, they've lost everything.
Just trees.
And in some of the hardest hit areas, a nighttime curfew is in place, as some try to profit from the chaos. Looting has already led to multiple arrests. Meanwhile, President Biden has pledged his support for all those affected.
To the families who have been impacted by this disaster, you're living through a nightmare, I know. And I promise you, we're going to help you get through this and eventually recover and rebuild.
But rebuilding is hard to imagine right now, when all these residents can do is wait, hoping and praying that the next gust of wind won't stoke the embers back into an inferno. Helena Humphrey, BBC News, Los Angeles.
Big breath.
Jason Kirkpatrick, a climate expert and former vice mayor of Arcata in California, says these fires bring back memories of his time there.
I know exactly what this feeling is like. It's terrifying. I've been stuck in these fires. My cousin lost her house in this area a few years ago when it burned down.
He looks scary.
As a youth in this area, I remember with nearby fires, I was on the roof of our wooden shingled home with a garden hose, hosing down the roof so that flying embers with these big winds called Santa Ana winds, that they wouldn't catch my house on fire. This is terrifying, yeah.
So when we see fires on this scale, the worst in Los Angeles history, and we're told by climate change experts the frequency is likely to increase, what needs to change, first of all, in terms of how emergency responses are organised in your view?
Okay, the short-term things for emergency response, there's some small things that we can do. We're learning about from these lessons we're hearing in the news. The water planning needs to be done a bit better. We've really done well, but we see that this is the worst ever fire, and now there will be lessons learned. There will be more fire water storage, better collaboration with other agencies, possibly outside of.
Especially considering LA or California in general is literally underwater. Like Cali is a coastal land. So like the water right there, they just need to like create some type of filtration system or some type of system. But I don't know, I guess I ain't the scientist, I guess.
California, so that there can be rapid reaction from nearby states like Arizona, Nevada, Oregon. That will have to happen. But another thing we can see dealing with evacuations, like we know that the firefighters are tired, they're exhausted. So having things like the National Guard in reserve, but maybe trained in advance to deal with mass evacuations, that if they were able to be called in from early on to help firefighters, to help police, that would free up a bit more time for the firefighters. That's one of the things that they could do.
Climate expert and former vice mayor of Arcata in California, Jason Kirkpatrick. Bonnie and Jason Matthews have lived in Altadena since 2017. This is what remained of their neighbourhood when Jason returned to check on their house. The couple had evacuated along with their 2 cats on Tuesday after the power went out and police drove by warning everyone to leave.
What the this been going on from Tuesday?
The smouldering wreckage is all that remains of their home. Well, with us is our BBC weather presenter, Stav Daenerys. And Stav, we keep talking about the sheer strength of the winds that are hitting the LA area.
Yeah, these Santa Ana winds, which are a common feature across this part of the world, have been particularly strong recently, gusting in excess of 80 miles an hour over the last few days. And of course, they've been fueled.
That's a hurricane?
There have been other little embers flying off in the strength of the winds and setting off other fires too. But you can see the map that I'm showing you now is actually the drought map across Southern California. We're actually in severe drought. It's been a very dry December so far, whereas further north, California into the Pacific Northwest, there's been pretty much ample rain for the start of the winter here. So very different story further south.
I don't know what the hell this map's saying.
It's dried out all the vegetation, of course, and we've had those Santa Ana winds. And these Santa Ana winds, a lot of people ask, what are they? They're a common feature whenever you get high pressure to the north of the of the region and lower pressure to the south, and we have strong easterly winds which blow out from the desert, dry out even more over the mountains, and then drop down as very dry, low humidity, strong winds around the LA region. And these winds have been exceptionally strong recently. So I've got the pressure chart above to show you what's been happening in the last 12 hours. You can see the high pressure system I'm talking about to the north of California, which has been squeezing against the lower pressure down towards Mexico, and we've had these strong easterly winds.
Mexico.
And those winds have been particularly strong for the last couple of days, and like gusting in excess of 80 miles an hour. Next few days, the winds do ease down. That's a cold front that moves down from the north, but it misses Southern California. There's no rain in sight. And if anything, by the time we reach Sunday, after a brief lull in the winds on Saturday looks like the winds are going to pick back up again and into next week with no rain in the forecast. So we could be looking at really dangerous conditions once again.
I'm already hearing.
So they estimating the winds to pick up on Sunday, and it's already estimated to be going at around 80 or so. So if the fires don't ease up or they get it under control by Sunday, it possibly could spread worse. But technically, if it don't ease up by Sunday, it already spread. Yeah, I don't. Anyway, oh my goodness.
That they're having difficulty putting out these fires because water levels are so low everywhere, because, as you say, it hasn't rained.
And also because of the strength of the winds, they've not been able to get the helicopters and the planes out to douse the fires from aerial views as well. So it's the combination of it all which has been devastating. But the outlook for next week, no rain in sight at all. It is going to stay dry. It is an arid area. We do get droughts in California, but it's been particularly dry recently, and with the strong winds and whatever started the fires, it's just been a lethal combination.
And this is the winter, isn't it? It's not even the height of the summer yet.
Yeah.
Some months off. So
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
This may be the height of the winter season. Like literally people having snowstorms. Like literally people just starting to see snow. And yet in California they got a whole type of fire situation going on. Wildfire situation going on. The world really could be a tricky place. Like it could show you like humans, we just here. We just doing our time, doing our thing. And when the world decide that they want to do its thing, who are we? Literally. But anyway, I got another video. This one says, the fires are still raging as the National Guard curfews get deployed.
Firefighters are still battling to contain the wildfires which have been raging across Los Angeles for 4 days. Forecasters say that more high winds are expected, which could stoke an already perilous situation. President Biden has said the city reminds him of a war scene. 10 people are now known to have died and around 10,000 homes and buildings have been destroyed.
Wow.
A nighttime curfew has been put in place in the worst affected areas to prevent abandoned homes from being looted. There are 5 fires still burning, and any progress in containing them is very limited. You can see on this map the biggest fire, Palisades, which was completely out of control yesterday, is now 8% contained. Eaton Fire in the Altadena neighborhood is just 3%.
Bruh, 8%. That's the biggest area, and that's only 8%. The second biggest area is only 3%. Oh my word. Yeah, this is supposed to be a problem. And based on the stats we just get from the last video about Sunday, man, I don't see them clearing up this 8% to 100 by Sunday.
And contained. Well, we'll hear from our correspondent in Altadena in just a moment. But first, Emma Vardy, who is on the Pacific Coast Highway for us now. Emma.
Look at the beach.
Well, today firefighters have made progress in some areas, but new fires are still breaking out. And as the Palisades fire continues to rage above us, local volunteers are trying to help.
A fourth grueling day, holding the line in the face of LA's inferno, as tens of thousands of acres continue to burn.
All right, you guys on radio? We'll meet you up at TCC. All right, you good?
Some communities have taken the disaster response into their own hands.
Love you, bro.
So next thing, shout out to all the all the people that's risking themselves to even go there and help others, or to try, like, you know, prevent or stop some of this fire situation to spread or whatever, or even like helping people get out of their homes or get out of their communities.
In Topanga Canyon, with fires burning all around, a group of locals calling themselves the Heat Hawks have sprung into action.
Initially, everyone felt a bit abandoned, but I understand why. We have a very tight community that's very connected, and so the local knowledge is really essential.
Well, these guys are just taking a look around the neighbourhood, see if they can see any spot fires or just anything they can help with, using whatever resources they can get their hands on: water supplies, fire extinguishers. The emergency services are just so stretched that people like this want to do what they can.
That's good. That's really good.
But there's more coming. Check at the library. There's going to be some in my house.
Despite an evacuation order, here some residents are staying as long as they can to try to protect properties.
It's just not enough people, not enough crews, you know, enough people.
Topanga?
I think they're undermanned. I think that budgets have been cut.
Around 10,000 buildings have been destroyed across the city. But every now and then, by some miracle, one has been spared.
Wow.
There's been anger at city leaders over the fire response.
Yo!
Now,
Hold on. Let's go right there. Yo, like literally probably one house on this entire stretch of beach. All of these was homes, or at least buildings, I should say. Oh my goodness. That's extra crazy because like a hill right there, that should have stopped some of the winds. Or maybe, or the winds may be in. Yo, I think too far. This is crazy. Like this whole coastline just empty. And by the way, I know I forgot to mention this. I also saw like the insurance companies don't even insure like fire insurance in them areas. So like these people either gotta build back their home out of their pocket, get a loan, or sell the land and move somewhere else. Which all of that is a headache to begin with. But oh my goodness.
Are being made that LA will rebuild.
With so many homes and businesses lost, we are already putting plans in place to make sure that we aggressively rebuild. I don't believe that there is anything that Angelenos cannot do if we stand together.
The risk of crime poses a new threat. Security has been stepped up in abandoned neighborhoods, and curfews are now being enforced.
You cannot be in these affected areas. If you are subject to arrest. That is important. We're not doing this to inconvenience anybody. We're doing it to protect the structures, the houses that people have left because we ordered them to leave, and I want them to feel confident that we are doing everything we can to secure that.
Along the Pacific Coast Highway is the exclusive LA suburb of Malibu. This once embodied the Californian dream.
Malibu.
Home to some of the most expensive real estate in America.
Fox. To the ground.
Now ashes. At least 10 people have now died, and it's warned the death toll is expected to increase. Despite days of hard work, it's up here in the hills where the fires are still raging, and with the winds picking up once again, there's real fears about its spread.
This is
and they're
painful to
facing an
watch.
uphill battle to try to contain it. With a red flag warning for strong winds at the weekend, it's now a race to try to limit the danger.
And the crazy thing, like for that particular fire, as an example, like it would be hard to reach that like on foot or even with a vehicle. So like you have to like in a situation you would have to like get like air support or like water from the air or something to like even reach that. That's crazy. But then like they say the wind's so strong, most planes or some planes can't go out. So this is really tricky. So they just gotta sit there and watch the fire happen, basically.
Well, most of the fires have been burning for days. Have a look at this one street in Altadena where the Eaton fire is burning. This is Fair Oaks Avenue. This is what it looks like now after those flames tore through the neighbourhood.
Wow.
And that's what Fair Oaks Avenue looked like before. House after house, street after street, it's all
Just a
gone.
gate.
Almost nothing left of these homes. Early estimates suggest the total damage caused could amount to as much as £122 billion. Well, our correspondent John Sudworth joins us now from Fair Oaks Avenue.
Side note, another question. I'm a bit like, or this may just be a thing where I'm from, because like all of our home, or most of our homes are made out of like concrete. So like even if a fire catch, the walls would still be up. So that means you're telling me like these homes, all of these homes are made out of like wood or like something that could catch fire. I don't know. I don't know what all the building materials may be, but like non-fire resistant material, because concrete won't burn, right? Or block. They may need to make that like a regulation from now on. All houses are concrete, even though you really can't stop the fire anyway. But like at least you will still have the base of your home still intact. These people literally just have ashes. I don't know. I'm just brainstorming.
Well, as thousands of firefighters continue that battle to get this crisis under control, this is what it leaves in its wake. The suburb of Altadena sits at the foot of a mountain range over which the unusually strong winds for this time of year, the Santa Ana winds they call them, poured in on Tuesday night. And it's that really lies at the heart of this disaster. It's almost impossible to give a sense of the true scale. So many stories, so many tragedies. We spent a few hours with the residents of one block of this one neighborhood.
Los Angeles is a city in shock. Thousands of people coming to terms with the once unimaginable.
Right around there are my diamond earrings.
Pete Mitchell, an electrician at Disneyland, and his wife Angela have lived here for over 10 years.
Oh my God, and it survived. Your little elephant box from Thailand.
This was their home before the fire. Altadena was a pleasant Los Angeles suburb, a middle-class district, a far cry from the mansions and celebrity lifestyles on the other side of the city.
It's devastating, of course. We saw images of it before. Our neighbors had come in here before, but it's also, you know, the opportunity to rebuild. which is hard
A
road,
headache.
but it can be done. I think we will do it.
I hope we're rebuilding here, and I hope that we'll have these, what we can find that can be memories of the good times we had in this home. It was a good home. It was a really good home.
Hey, that's painful. I ain't gonna lie.
Around them, fire crews are still patrolling the area, putting out spot fires. This is a city in deep crisis, with the emergency services stretched to the limit and lives totally upended.
Okay.
Just a few doors away, another family surveying the damage. This was Stephanie's home for more than 4 decades, but she says she's now focused on the future.
40 years?
We're very fortunate that we were able to get out in time.
Yes.
Everybody is safe, and we do plan to rebuild.
Absolutely.
Bigger
Amen.
and better.
Yes.
All right.
We're grateful.
We're praying for everybody because this is just devastating. Altadena is one of the #1 places to live. It's friendly, it's family oriented. It's just a wonderful community.
I really love their positive attitude.
A block away, this house had recently seen new tenants move in.
It would have been the middle bin of the closet, her wedding ring.
Just ground.
Tavia Weinman and her family are now picking through the wreckage, salvaging the few keepsakes that have survived the intense heat.
It's like overwhelming right now.
She picking them coins. That's crazy.
Because it's like decades and decades of, building things, and it's all gone.
She's still processing. She can't even believe it.
These are scenes repeated across huge swathes of this city, and with the emergency far from over. John Sudworth, BBC News, Altadena.
Let's go back now to our correspondent Emma Vardy. And Emma, you spoke at the end of your report about fears that the situation might get worse before it gets better.
Well, there's now 3,000 firefighters battling that Palisades fire above us.
3,000?
They're stretched, they're fatigued, and the fear is that with those winds picking up, that any progress that's been made, it can be reversed very quickly.
Yep.
And down here, of course, we're under no illusions as to what the consequences are when the fire starts spreading once again and moves incredibly fast. These buildings, once luxury beachfront properties, they're still smouldering. But gradually people have started to come down here themselves to look at the damage. But now there is this curfew in place from 6 p.m. at night until 6 p.m. in the morning to try to prevent looting while this crisis continues.
Fair. Prayers again to everyone affected by this fire situation. I really hope this ends soon. Based on how things looking, I really don't know. 3%, the biggest fire is only like 8% done. I really don't know how this could end soon. Prayers and blessings to everyone that's in the LA area, honestly.